I was gonna say what's up, Terps fans, but I'll say who's up, Terps fans. By the time I'm posting this, it's 10:22 Pacific time. Actually, the time I'm recording it, it'll go up by 11 Pacific time. So if you're watching this by the time it goes live East Coast, you have a problem, but that's okay. We respect the fanatic Terp fans. Hopefully, I don't know. There's some of you that want to watch anything related to this game. If you don't, burn the tape. I don't blame you. Maryland loses 100 to 61. You got that right. 100 to 61 to Gonzaga. This game looked over 10 minutes in. The Terps dug in, fought back a little bit, tried to make a game of it, got it to a reasonable margin, 10-ish points, and then a couple plays to end the half on not a particularly high note, kind of squandered the momentum they started to build. And really just, it was kind of a repeat of the first game where they started out sloppy, had some turnovers, committed some fouls, and just didn't really look particularly locked in. And I think that's the slow start tough. It hurt them in the UNLV game, although they ultimately won fairly comfortably, I'd say. It hurt them big time in the Georgetown game, and it hurt in this game too. Obviously, a team that loses by 39 points, you can't say it was just the first 10 minutes, but I think that would have set the tone differently for this game. And Maryland goes just out of the gates, kind of tough. They go into halftime down 15. Should have probably been 10 or 11, somewhere in that margin. And I think that's just a big difference maker. It's much easier mentally to hang tough, and Gonzaga just punched them in the mouth, and eventually they just sort of steamrolled or snowballed or whatever term we want to go through. It just sort of got away from the Terps here in the second half. Really, anything after 20 points, it sort of doesn't even matter how bad you lose by. I don't think, because it just didn't look like these two teams were playing the same sport for part of this game. Just really disappointed by how the team looks in terms of just talent compared to a top 10 team. Like, obviously, this is a good barometer. I said this in the preview, the first of the two previews, that, Gonzaga should be, in my opinion, like a early Final Four candidate caliber team. And they looked every bit the part here. After I do my little piece up front here, I'll cut it over to Buzz Williams' presser again, and then I'll actually include Mark Fuse as well, because he has a few little nuggets on the Terps. It was interesting to hear a couple things he mentioned about. But Buzz Williams talked about, he basically had to pick your poison with this Gonzaga team. You have two incredible front court players in Graham Mike and Braden Huff. I think if either of them were individually on this team, you'd be talking about them potentially as the best center in the country. The fact that they're both on the roster, they have to kind of give and take a little bit, but they make just an incredible front court duo, especially for a Maryland team that basically has one, honestly, like, this sounds rude, probably, but competent big man in Pharrel Payne, and that's really it. Payne picked up 2 fouls here, and Buzz has been a pretty staunch, if you collect 2 fouls guy, you're going to sit for the rest of the half, and he had to bring Pharrel back in. He did some offense, defense, subbing, and things like that to try to minimize it. Pharrel, you got to not pick up bad fouls, like give up a layup. It's worth it to not have you go sit for 10 minutes where we'll give up lots of layups. So that hurt them early. It kind of stalled a little bit of some of the comeback momentum. And just this front court, like I said, was so good that the Terps had to make a choice. We could just collapse on them and leave 3-point shooters open for Gonzaga. That's ultimately what they did, and just sort of, hey, we'll roll the dice here and we'll live with what happens. Well, the dice did not go their way, and they only have to live with what happens here. If you're Maryland, you look at this and you say, okay, well, let's go shooting by period here for the Terps. Overall for the game, they finish 14 of 33 from three. That's 42.4%. It honestly felt like more than that. A couple guys just went crazy. Emmanuel Innocenti had not shot the ball anywhere near as well as he shoots the ball here tonight for Gonzaga. He was 5 of 7 from three. Steele Vinters, 4 of 7 from three. There's just grown-ass men on this Gonzaga team, and this Maryland team, I think, is just obviously inexperienced at a lot of positions other than the front court. And again, other than Pharrel Payne, I'm just a little underwhelmed by where we're at with the front court. I want to like Elijah Saunders so much. Just looked outclassed in this game to me. Just a couple times, like, he big time somebody under the rim, bully balled him a little bit, finally had like a tough layup, and I was like, yes, I want to see more of that. And then gets beat because he's kind of looking away down court and celebrating his bucket, and gives up a layup on the other end. And just like, you can't have moments like that. Kudos to Pharrel Payne for just even doing what he did. He had too many turnovers tonight with 4. Williams talks about that in the press conference as well. But I don't know, just again, the fact that he's upright, he played back-to-back nights like this, they were able to save him a few minutes. He only plays 19 in this one, still finishes with 14 and 7. And the other thing that, Buzz Williams is pretty good about is holding these players accountable. And he talks about the lack of rebounding from Pharrel Payne. Granted, he played 19 minutes and had 7 rebounds, and it's the most on the team, but they've got to be better. Actually, he's the second most on the team. Alex Alston, again, another good rebounding night with 8. Just played like a big person under the basket. He's still too small and too skinny to battle with front court guys like EK and Huff, but it was a sign of life from him, and I think he looks like a piece worth investing in for the future. What I'm about to say is going to sound kind of messed up. Every once in a while, the parent of one of the players on this team listens to the show. I've heard from a few of them, so I'm sorry in advance if this is one of your kids. I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but other than Pharrel Payne right now, I'm not sure who in the front court looks like a Power 5, an above average Power 5 player, or even an average Power 5 player, or in some cases a Power 5 player, period. And that's tough. On the perimeter, it's honestly not much better. Like they look like mid-major all-star level guys. Like we've seen Diggy Coit just crush a Mount St. Mary's team for 41 points, a week ago. We've seen him average 20 points per game at Northern Illinois. But when he gets out on the court against a bigger team like this Gonzaga team, which again a lot of guards are going to struggle against them, but it just doesn't work. It doesn't work the same way. You see Coit finish the game 2 of 7, 0-4 from 3 because he's having to take harder shots from further away with longer arms in his face, and there's just not enough separation that he can create, and no one else creates any open looks for him really on this team. Miles Rice only plays 10 minutes in this game. He just kind of looked sloppy and ineffective. Only had 2 turnovers, but it felt like there were more than that. Finishes 0 for 2 in the game. Felt like he missed a few more bunnies at the rim than that. Guillermo Dopino does not look like a guy who can play Power 5 basketball to me. I want to like him. I feel bad. He finishes 1 of 5. He's a point guard who truly cannot seem to dribble left on the court. A couple times someone set the screen for him on the wrong side, so he literally just does a circle and goes right anyway and basically denies the screen. I mean, like, what are we doing here? Like, that one was a little tough for me. Colin Metcalf has just not been what I think, they hoped he would be. Obviously, he was a late addition to this group, so probably not, a linchpin of their plans or anything like that, but I'm sure they expected him to play serviceable minutes. He played 15 minutes tonight, picked up 4 fouls. Like it just didn't really do a whole lot else of note. Only 2 rebounds, no block shots for a guy that was a great shot blocker at the lower mid-major level. It just is not translated in any meaningful way, and that just means Pharrel Payne will have to play crazy minutes in the Big Ten here, and I'm sure that'll add up for a guy that's still probably not 100% after that injury. So we'll see. They need Alex Alston to continue to develop on the fly. Again, his 21 minutes were a small bright spot. I actually threw Buzz kind of a softball in the postgame and asked him if there was anything he was encouraged by, thinking maybe he'd say like Alston for the second night in a row, but he didn't take. I was gonna say the bait there, but I was trying to help them out. But like, he didn't feel the need to say anything positive. He just focused on, hey, the things that didn't work, and there were a lot of them, and I actually respect that. There was no media BS in my opinion. I thought he was pretty transparent. Every coach uses a few coachisms, but for the most part it was here's what did or didn't work. He was even willing to say things like I said about Payne who didn't do certain things particularly well. I thought Andre Mills was fine in this game. 4 of 8 from the field, 1-1 from 3, 11 points, couple rebounds, no assist, no steals or blocks tonight, but was pretty active and he tried. He looked like he could hang at that level at the very least. I think another year under his belt will look even better. Darius Adams still, I think the jump shot is like almost completely broken, and I hope they spend all offseason trying to fix it. It looks like someone was trying to get him to take like no dip threes, except now there's no dip, no elbow bend. We talked about it on the previous game. He had 2 threes late against UNLV that maybe gave me some hope that he had figured some things out. He makes a couple tonight, which was better. He's 3 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from the 3-point line. So I don't know. That's good to see, but it's just even when he makes them, I don't feel confident in him because of how flat they are. I don't think he can ever be the level of shooter we'd want him to be, or for him to maximize on the rest of his skill set. He got to the free throw line 7 times again, which is good. Made 5 of them. We'll take that overall here. And for Adams, no rebounds, no assists, 3 turnovers. So just There's just not a whole lot to like here from this particular performance. Buzz Williams said that the best thing that could happen to them is just that there's a short turnaround. That's kind of where I'm at here as well. And I I come on here. I try to be more positive than I can, and I try to be objective. I don't want to be the Maryland homer that the sky is falling anytime they lose the game, or hey, we're gonna win, the world championship here anytime they win a game that they're supposed to win, or things like that. But it just is where we are where we are. It is what it is. Whatever phrase you want to go with for that one, I think this is what we're in for. Even when they win, it's going to be winning ugly. I think they're going to have to make sure they beat up on all the bottom Big Ten teams to stockpile as many wins as they can to maybe move toward the bubble. I asked about Solomon Washington's status. It got no answer from that one. So still strange to me to have a guy fully dress and compete in, or participate in pregame warmups and layup lines and things like that in uniform, and then not actually get much insight on whether he even expects to play in this third game. Which, by the way, they play Alabama, who looked pretty darn good against a Gonzaga team that Maryland just got smoked by, and they're in the process of playing UNLV as the time I'm recording this, and pulling away from them. So this is a good Alabama team, and they're good offensively, and they shoot well, and Maryland is going to have a tough time with that. They're not great inside, which I think helps the Terps, and there are some athletes on this Maryland team that maybe can slow down LeBaron Filan, the star guard for Alabama. Aiden Holloway also pretty good as well, but LeBaron Filan is the one that kind of stirs the drink for Alabama. So that game will be at 9 p.m. Pacific time, so midnight again for Terps fans going to Thanksgiving Day. Hopefully you're all off for Thanksgiving and you can watch this game up into the hours with me and then sleep in for Thanksgiving, but understand if you can't. So kind of a tough break for players there. They're going to add 16 more teams next year, so this tournament will be split over 2 weeks, which makes it very interesting. We'll see how that plays out for the Terps. I do expect them to be here for the foreseeable future, at the very least next year, and some inkling that they'll be here longer than that. So we'll see what that looks like. So yeah, this is it's a tough event, and playing Gonzaga and Alabama are two really good tests. I'm glad they played UNLV because it's one of the few teams in the field that they probably look like they could beat. Not great, so that's okay. Hopefully they can learn from this. Getting Solomon Washington back maybe adds a little bit of rebounding and toughness, and somebody who's a defensive stopper, and maybe that just makes you incrementally better, and maybe they become more connected. This team has to hang its hat on defense, and they have to be able to turn defense into offense, in my opinion. They scored 9 points off turnovers, but yielded 32 points off turnovers. That's just not going to be a good recipe for them. 18 turnovers again in this game. They only forced 12. You can't afford to lose the turnover differential if you're Maryland, especially if you're going to get smoked on the boards. Gonzaga finished with 39 rebounds to Maryland's 29. You need more possessions. That's the entire buzzball math that he's trying to play here. And they're just kind of doing all of those things poorly that would yield you the extra possessions. A couple bright spots. Met some cool Terp fans out here. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to Alex and Pam. A whole bunch of different people got to hang out with Ryan and Adam Hammer, so shout out to those guys here as well. My good buddy Ryan Holmes was out here with us, Sam Lieber, so just cool to hang out with some other Terps fans in an event like this and see some folks, away from the confines of Xfinity Center. So that's cool. Hopefully next year we have a better on-court team. Buzz is really going to have to attack the portal differently. I know they say things like they didn't have enough time, but then you hear stories about him basically recruiting Miles Rice while they were still at Texas A&M. So they knew who they wanted in the portal. So I don't fully buy that they just, were so last minute of everything because of when they got hired. This team has to figure out a way to get enough NIL and things like that. The house settlement, maybe that makes it different where it's rev share primarily other than true NIL, but I'll believe that when I see it about how it's actually enforced. Maryland has to have a way to have resources enough to put a better team on the court. I'm excited to have Adams and Mills back next year. We'll see what happens with Miles Rice, if he's even a guy that they'll want to come back. I'm not judging him too harshly after coming off this and trying to hit the ground running here and being rusty and things like that. But will he want to be in a backcourt next to Mills and Coit? Mills and Adams, who are kind of the future here as you bring in a Caden House? We'll see. Guys move around a good amount, and that may not be a fit, or maybe it will. Maybe he'll look good the rest of the season, and that's your 3 guard rotation, and you just got to fill out the front court. But replacing Pharrel Payne is going to suck. There just aren't a ton of really good big men in college basketball, and a lot of these really good teams hoard them. You see this with Gonzaga with 2 of the better bigs in the country. They're going to play Michigan in the final with 3 really good bigs. You see Florida with 4 really good bigs. Like, that's what the best teams do. They dominate the front court, and Maryland has 1 serviceable big right now. Maybe Alex Olsen can turn into that. Maybe Baba is really good as a freshman. Maybe Adama Tambadou is ready to play day 1. But they're going to be young next year, too. And you see what works with Gonzaga, a bunch of 25-year-olds, basically. And that's not really an exaggeration. If you want to go look, there's a bunch of dudes in their mid-20s at the very least. And this Terps team looks really young next year. If you bring those guys I talk about back and you give them actual minutes, you bring in 4, maybe 5 freshmen even, it's just not a great recipe in today's college basketball. So I'm a little nervous. They need to just blow it out of the water with the portal. There need to be like 5 Big Ten level starter guys added to this group to be mixed in here. For the rest of this Maryland season, though, I continue to wonder how this team scores. Like, I think this team would struggle, with the top teams in the Atlantic 10. So what are they going to do to score and find points against the Big Ten opponents that they've got? So takeaways: cut down on turnovers. Stop giving up so many rebounds here. The bright sides for Maryland here is this is a tough group. I honestly, truly believe that. Like, they had opportunities to roll over early, and they were still diving for loose balls late, and it's easy to get dejected when you're just getting roundhouse kicked in the face by a team like Gonzaga, but they kind of hung in there for a good amount of the time before the doors fully got blown open. But at least in the first half, they gut checked and they tried to make a run at it. They were too outmatched at almost every position. Pharrel Payne's the only one that's maybe close to a wash with his matchups, and even that, I would say he was at probably a disadvantage. So we'll just see if they can shake it off against Alabama. That's really where we're at. If they can look serviceable against a team like that, maybe that restores some faith here. But didn't feel great about that one. Just gonna have to consider this offense strategy longer term. Like, I understand that not building your team around shooters and relying on rebounding and defense and toughness and things like that has had some success for them at Texas A&M, but you have to get those portal pieces right and bring in guys that can definitively do that. And again, maybe with more time, maybe that is true. Maybe that wasn't an excuse, and then that's the real deal here, and they can find people to better suit the style they want to play. But we'll see. Our freshmen and sophomores going to be able to play that way, so they might have to be willing to adjust and tweak some of the foundational things that they've built their program around the last couple of years here. I don't know. We'll see. Sorry for being kind of a downer, but it's hard not to when it's a 39-point loss. It would be disingenuous to come on here and be all sunshine and rainbow. So hopefully they give us something to be a little bit more positive about coming out of this Alabama game. Hopefully you'll all check in and join us. If you're still watching at this point, hit the like button for us on YouTube. We really, really do appreciate that. Helps other Terps fans find what we're doing here and keep growing the show and get us more access and all those kinds of good things and more clout with other Terps fans. So we really appreciate that. All right, I'm going to kick it over to Buzz Williams here first. So if you're listening to this as the audio version, that's Buzz's voice that you're about to hear pretty shortly. And then after that, we'll close with Mark Few. And it's not a ton of stuff about the Terps, but I'll include it in there anyway in case anybody listening to this is interested. And I don't know, man, fear the turtle or fear the Gonzaga Bulldogs, I guess. But yeah, we'll see how it goes tomorrow night against Alabama. All right, here's Buzz.
Buzz, how much of what went wrong tonight? How much of what went wrong tonight was you guys not doing what you need to do versus Gonzaga just being a really good basketball team?
Yeah, I would say probably both. They are incredibly good. And I think relative to the infancy of where we're at, as difficult as this is, playing in a tournament like this affords us an opportunity to diagnose even more at a faster rate. And none of that is fun. But to be able to play a team that's good enough to win the national championship in the 4th week of the season, there's a lot for us to grow from. And to some degree, without being too simplistic, the best thing may be that we're going to play in 24 hours. And so without the schemes and the strategies involved in whatever that opponent will be, how will we respond to what just transpired. And so I will always give credit to the opponent. They made us not play well, but our urgency and our response in not playing well is not near at the standard that it's going to have to become.
And then Miles, basically his minutes were cut in half from yesterday. Just wondering if that's related to him kind of still working back from that injury, or was it more on-court related?
I think he's probably getting healthier. I don't think it would be Miles or any other person. We tried all people with some layer of lack of success. And so as this unfolds, whoever that group is, however old they are, however many days they've practiced or games they've played, we've got to find the right combination. And whether that includes Miles or not, we're not at the point where we weigh that. Who can help us? Who can impact winning on both sides of the ball?
Hey, boss. Gonzaga knocked down a season-high 14 threes tonight. Kind of what was the game plan defensively, and what went wrong in defending the pockets?
Yeah, they were, of all of the things that they're the best at, shooting the three was what they were worst at. And they weren't terrible. I think they were 208th in three-point field goal percentage entering today's game. 34-14 commands so much presence inside. And I thought our plan was right. Our execution of the plan wasn't great. And then it just kind of disintegrated on being able to do one or the other.
I wanted to touch on the turnovers again. 20 last night, 18 tonight. What sort of pace that you guys hope to play at and hope to cut down on those moving forward?
Yeah, we need to shorten the game. I thought, I don't know the overall possession count. At halftime, I thought the pace was probably bent our way. I think there were 32 possessions at half. We finished the game, it looks like, we had 70, they had 79s because we're giving them the ball too much. But in Vegas, we have had a turnover rate problem. And that correlates with many other things that we're struggling with. Giving the ball to the other team 20% of the time is not just one person, it's our group. And so we're playing in a broken floor. We're playing in transition defense too much. And however we can shorten the game, regardless of the pace, we can't give the ball to the other team at the rate we are.
Matt, right here in front.
Thanks, Coach. Anything that encouraged you from tonight, Coach? Or maybe a stupid question in a 40-point game, but anything you're feeling better about?
I think our urgency has to increase. I thought the two timeouts in the first half, the first one was similar to what happened when we played Georgetown at home. We didn't step towards the competition stepped towards us. And then I thought we kind of settled down. I felt the first ATO of the second half, I think they outscored us by 3. But I thought there was remnants of, okay, we're doing okay offensively. We weren't giving them the ball, but we weren't getting any stops. And so anytime you get beat as bad as we did, there's not just one problem, and there's multiple things to look at. I think that, like I mentioned at the start, as discouraging as it is, it's encouraging that we get a chance to respond tomorrow. And how we go about the response is probably more important than the outcome of this game. And I think that's the next step for us. Is we did an okay job in some ways yesterday against UNLV. Not many things that we did well if you lose like we did tonight. And so how are we going to respond 24 hours later? And like I mentioned, playing in an event like this, that's going to be exposed. And when you're playing a team like Gonzaga, there's nothing that you can hide because they are so good. And you are going to be exposed. And we were exposed on multiple levels. And that's that's the ownership we have to have, and that includes me.
I think Maryland fans are excited to see Solomon Washington back dressed and warming up. I know the privacy considerations you take there, but any update you can offer?
It's just ongoing. It's not that I'm never trying to hide anything from anybody. I do want to be somewhat of a layer of protection for our medical staff and all of the things that transpire privately, and also for So and for his mom. But I think he's making progress. But this has been an ongoing deal for 7 weeks. But similar to what I said when Miles was out and we've had other guys out, I also don't want to create this expectation that that's going to change everything. We have multiple things that we have to improve at. Do I think he will help us? Yes. Do I think one person is going to answer all of these lists of things that we need improvement at? No.
All right, last one for Harrison.
Still think we've asked you about Pharrel these last 2 games. How do you think he's looked out there coming back?
I'm so thankful that he's playing. The angle that I had on Saturday, I guess that was last Saturday, it was gruesome in regards to the fall. And that's the first time I'd ever seen him on the ground like that in practice or game. And then obviously they took him to the hospital. And so that kind of took some time before all of that was completely diagnosed. Very thankful that he's playing. I think he does command a presence. I think the thing that he has to help us at more, and in the minutes that he played tonight, he's got to help us on the glass more. He's getting fouled at a high rate. He's doing a good job scoring. His turnover rate's way too high. And then we need him to help us on both sides of the ball from a rebounding standpoint. But I also didn't think he would be back as fast as he is. And so that's a credit to the medical staff and all the things that have transpired since he got hurt.
All right, thanks everybody.
Guys for knocking them down, especially Emmanuel and Steele.
Hey, these guys have been working hard, put in a lot of reps. So, and just the way they collapse on the ball, I think it was just kind of their style of play kind of lends itself, especially on some of those throw-aheads, because we were able to collapse the defense so much. And then we were also playing out of the post double. We did a nice job. A little choppy there for a while, but we found some good shots and some good actions out of the post double in the night.
Mark, I assume you knew going into the game what you needed to win by in order to play for the championship.
Not really. No, we were watching the Michigan game a little bit, but no.
What do you think about this format where it's very AAU, point differential?
No, it's actually FIBA. I mean, that's how the Olympics are played. That's how the World Cup's played, and I got good experience with that. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, these guys are old enough and mature enough to handle it. I don't think you need to always sub everybody and feel bad about scoring at the end of the games. I mean, I never do when somebody puts it on us.
And then I wondered what you all thought of Vegas as like Spokane South. Your fans are used to traveling here. What have you thought of like the environment, the games? There's a lot of empty seats, but it's tough to compare with the WCC championship because that's a much smaller arena.
Yeah, no, Zags fans are great. They're always going to travel, always going to show love. So just all the support we get from them, we're super grateful and glad to have them out here.
I feel it was a great thing that every time they're supporting us, wherever we're going, they're showing up. And I feel there's something that there's not everywhere like that. So it's a good thing.
Hey, Mark, wanted to follow up on the triple season high 14 threes made tonight. Was there an added effort to convert from beyond the arc, or was it just taking what the Maryland defense gave you?
No, I mean, listen, I spend a lot of time talking to these guys about just making the right basketball play. And, tonight, obviously with 30 assists, we did a really good job of making the right basketball play. Maryland had our full attention because they're really handsy and they're in the gaps and they kind of chunk it up. They try to switch a lot of actions, and sometimes that can get you to just kind of stop and not do your normal movements or your normal actions. And I think these guys did a really nice job of just playing the game the right way and finding those. That's what was open today against their defense. They were really clogging the lane with our bigs and switching a lot of our action.
Manuel, what went into your shooting night? How good did that feel? And then what did you get technical for? What happened?
I did what I did. I made a bad decision, and I should have done that. And luckily that's it. And there's nothing much to say about it.
About the shooting night.
We've been working hard every day. Get ready. Get ready, hands ready. And take the open shot. My teammate did a great job to find me when I was open.
He's got a beautiful shot. One of the best shots on the team. I mean, it's just a matter of time before, the dam broke because he's been putting his reps in. And every time he shoots it looks like he's going in. So
Almost the same with Steele. He's
Yeah.
had so many go in and out.
Yeah.
Same sense with that.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark, Buzz and the Maryland coaching staff said they were up until, midnight or past hours of the night last night in terms of prepping for you guys and how prep is so different and playing back-to-back nights. What was your prep like last night in terms of the staff?
It's the same thing. I mean, everybody. It's interesting. The hotels remind me so much of the Bowl right now. There's literally 10 meeting rooms, over at the Park MGM. There's Tennessee's in one, obviously we're in one, Creighton's in one, Baylor's in one, Maryland's in one, just right down the road. And of course, I don't think people really understand how hard the staffs work. The staffs have to hustle back after these games and start putting together scouting reports and minutes. And then my job is to kind of get it so the guys can absorb it, because there's a tremendous amount of information, and I think there's only a little slight amount that can be absorbed in that short a time. So these guys did a great job at that. I understand that's how we got those threes. I think we took a high possession game again. We took pretty good care of the ball, and and then played great defense.
Got two more.
Yeah, Mark, you mentioned the choppiness of kind of the first half. You had the technical and the playground. What was kind of the message in the locker room at halftime, and how do you think they responded in the second half?
Yeah, again, guys. I mean, we played so many good stretches of basketball. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on the part we didn't. But yeah, the message was the same. Let's say when we play the right way, when we're making the right decisions, when we're making the right basketball play, we're fun to watch. We're successful, and things are going good. When we don't, we're definitely vulnerable.
Mark, I'm presuming it'll be you and Michigan in the
Yeah.
final if I
Yeah.
decipher things right. Quick thought on them and what
Yeah.
you saw when you watched them.
Again, just watching them, mind wasn't exactly dialed in. I was just thinking about Maryland, but that was on in the coach's locker room. A very, very big, incredible size, probably one of the biggest teams in college basketball, and old, and just, Dusty does a great job kind of putting those guys in the right spots, and they look really, really good. I was watching, they look really good, and they just blasted everybody down here, so we know it's going to be a really, really tough game, but it's going to be a fun game. We're looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys.
Brandon, just real quick, that front line they have, you've probably taken a look at it. What do you think of that matchup?
Yeah, it's going to be a battle down low tomorrow. I think we're excited for the challenge. I think we feel like we've got a really good front line ourselves, so it's going to be a fun battle.
Thanks, guys.